Hello, Earth Angels. This is Sylvia. I'm here today with a wonderful friend of mine, with Ed Spina. Hi, Ed.
Hello, Sylvia.
And Ed is a writer, and he's also a mystic. Ed, can you tell our viewers what does it mean exactly to be a mystic? It's a very mystical word, isn't it?
Well, mysticism is a spiritual discipline aimed at direct communion with God, or the ultimate reality. Now, it's not a religion. In fact, every religion has mystics. There are Christian mystics, Jewish mystics, known as Kabbalists. The Islamic mystics are the Sufis. Then you have the Hindus and Buddhists have the yogis of their religion, who are the mystics of their religion. So every religion has mystics, and what mystics do is they study the universal laws that are true no matter what culture you're in. So it's kind of where all the religions intersect. That body of knowledge is what the mystics study.
Wonderful. You mentioned universal laws.
Yes.
And from my own experience, people always want to know what are the laws. You know, maybe the most famous law of all is the law of attraction, and is very famous because of the book Secret, or Jerry and Esther Hicks. What is? I think you said once that there laws of the universe and laws of Earth specifically, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain laws that are always true, and there are only a handful of those. And there are other ones that are true for depending on what dimension basically you live in. But one that's always true is that you exist. You as a spiritual being always exist. You cannot ever not exist. And you existed since the beginning of time, and you may not have incarnated on Earth, you may not have lived in a physical body since the beginning of time, but that's one of the fundamental laws. You exist.
Mm-hmm. So, and can we translate it into our lives? Like, does this understanding of this law, or knowing that the law can be applied on Earth, can we, help ourselves to live?
Well, for this particular law, there's aren't as many applications, but it does make certain spiritual teachings become more understandable. For example, when Jesus was asked in one of his accusers, who are you? Who do you say you are? And he said, well, before Abraham was, I am. He's talking about before Abraham, the being incarnated on Earth. Before that ever happened, he was. He is, and he am, meaning he's forever exists. He never not existed. So he's just saying something that's true for every man, woman, and child on Earth, but of course people tried to twist it and turn it against him to make it seem like he was special, when he's just stating a universal fact.
Mm-hmm. So how this, for instance, you yourself, is your life easier, or are you not that sensitive about certain things because you know that this law exists, that everything exists, so therefore, how would you focus it more for viewers, for people to understand it? So how can I apply this law? How is it helping me to live easier?
Well, at the core of every being is that, well, everyone knows you're not your physical body. Everyone knows, every religion, every spiritual discipline talks about you're more than just your body. They talk about the soul. But more specifically, you have a physical body, but you also have higher bodies. You have emotional bodies, mental bodies, and spiritual bodies of increasingly higher vibration. And at the apex of your existence is the I Am presence, the divine aspect, master within, inner light, by whatever name you want to give it. That's who you are. That's the spark that comes from God, ultimately, that animates your entire being. So your job as a mystic, one of the first things we're taught is to try to align with that inner aspect of ourselves, to connect with your innermost self, to merge with your higher self, ultimately to merge with God, with the all that is. So that's your objective, is to do that, and that's the way you want to do that, or the way this I Am presence communicates with your mind and your body is through your energy centers, which in the Eastern traditions they talk about the 7 chakras which run along the spine. And in the West, they just talk about energy centers, which are the actual glands or organs that animate your body. So one of my practices is to clean out those energy centers so that I have a more direct contact, a less muddled connection with that I am presence, with the highest aspect that I can connect with. And so that's one of my practices, the energy center clearing practice. That's what I do all the time.
Yeah, maybe in other parts, part 2, 3, 4, 5, we'll give a little sample to our viewers.
Yes.
So I just love the story, because now we're talking about the law of that everything exists.
Right.
Yeah, that's the definition.
Everything is energy.
Everything is energy. And I love the story that you tell about the tiger. It's like opposite. That even though everything is energy, then we are perceiving things as real, right? Because some people use this, everything is energy, nothing is real, nothing exists, And you remember the story? Can you tell us?
Well, there was someone who was trying to think that mind over matter, that whatever he thought and whatever he would say would immediately come to pass. And he got thrown into a cage with a tiger, and he just looked at the tiger and says, "You do not exist, you do not exist, you do not exist." And the tiger just looked at him, suddenly grabbed him, ate him, and said, "And now neither do you."
That's perfect. Perfect. So the lesson from this is that it's okay to understand that it's all energy, but we still have to act a certain way in this physical reality, right? Right.
You're a physical being as well as a spiritual being. The mystic adage is you want to be in this world but not of it. In other words, you have a physical body, you have to obey the physical laws of the universe, but at the same time you should be taking your direction from a higher source, from your higher self, ultimately from God, so that whatever you do will be the perfect thing to do at whatever moment in time exists.
And in part 2, we can talk more about how you yourself connect to your higher self or to God, okay?
Okay, that would be great.